Tell Me About It is brought to you by Don Franklin Auto of Glasgow, Extreme Health Club, and Lockshield Partners Accounting Services.
Trevent Hayes here with James Brown. Trevent Hayes with KY Sports TV. James Brown with 104 The Score. We are here at Glasgow Electric Plant Board, Channel 6, the local channel. Tell me about it.
That's right.
Tell me about it.
What am I telling you about?
I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you
me
what.
something.
Look, I'll tell you about this.
Okay.
Barron County's defense is really good.
Okay.
And their offense, Tate Spillman's really good. Their offense isn't bad, but penalties have killed them in 2 out of 3 games. Now, when they played Metcalf just wasn't good enough to capitalize on it. Warren East was good enough to cause them problems, and so they got down to the last 2 minutes. I think it was 1:58 left, and Tate Spillman scores the touchdown, and then Hadley Adams kicks what is the winning extra point. She also leads the girls' soccer team in goals and assists.
Cool.
So that makes for some fascinating situations for them. Barron's 3-0 for the first time, I think they said, since 1985, which is good for them. Mm-hmm. And they play at Monroe on Friday night.
And they should beat Monroe.
I think so. Their defense is good enough. But I do think Coach Muse looks at these 2 of these 3 games and says, we've got to clean up these mistakes because we may be able to get by Monroe, but a week from now when we're playing over at Glasgow, if we continue to make these same kind of penalties and mistakes, we won't be able to come back from that.
Won't be able to capitalize.
And, that's the defense is the thing that he was concerned about entering the season because he had lost so many players up front, whole linebacking core and all that jazz. But he's a good defensive coach, and they've managed to take care of that part.
Glasgow.
Monroe always kind of causes them problems, even though Monroe didn't score in the game. I think they got within the 10 twice, and Glasgow turned them back. Glasgow's varsity defense has not given up a touchdown, and I don't think the varsity defense has given up more than 100 total yards in the 3 games. LaRue may have been around 103 by the time the fourth quarter got there, but I don't think they were. I think if you put the negative yards and all together, it was less than 100. So yeah, they've that starting defense for Glasgow has also been pretty fantastic so far, and guys like Mason Arms up front. At linebacker, Cash Wells I think has played pretty well so far. In the secondary, you've had Ryan Morgan. I think he has 3, maybe 4 interceptions. Kellen Stone I think has 1. So the defense has played well both up front and on the backside when people try to throw it on them. And they play Allen County on Friday. I think that's a pretty interesting matchup because Allen got into a deep hole against Franklin Simpson to start off in that game. Franklin, of course, is in Glasgow's district this year, and they're always good. Mm-hmm. I think they are also undefeated at this point. Allen got into a deep hole, and then they came back and made a game of it. They couldn't quite get over the hump all the way, but they're always good up front. They're always physical. They usually run the ball pretty effectively. I think this is the best matchup Glasgow's seen as a test for their offensive front. And now, when you got Rico Crowder catching bubble screens and then going 70 yards for a touchdown, I don't think Allen really matches up with that very well.
Right.
But I do think, and Easton Jesse has played well though. Before the season started, that's what you said. We needed to see what he's going to look like as quarterback this year with the experience he has, and I think he's played pretty well overall. Now, you guys suffered a little bit of a defeat. I think you got injured during the game. You and Jalen Crane both.
I did. It's not funny either, James.
No, it's not. I'm sure you're in a lot of pain. But look, the funny thing is, I guess you were like, man, my knee is hurting, like during the game. And then you find out after the fact that you're hurt. So you were a real champ, man. You champed it out there.
Well, I couldn't show a sign of weakness. Tough game. Tough game. We go up 18-0. Jalen Crane gets hurt, and it kind of sucks the air out. But we didn't give up. And, that's what I keep telling my kids is just play hard. And taking nothing away from Eminence. I think they cracked the top 10 this week. Very good 5 up front on both sides of the ball.
They had 3 dudes who anybody would like to have.
Everybody that we play in all the schools in the area would love to have 51, 11, and 10.
Yeah.
Yes. But I think we created matchup problems for them. Just one of those games. And, our kids have to learn how to win. We was in the position to win. 2-point conversions. We missed all of our 2-point conversions but one.
Yeah.
And so that makes the score 42-38. And then we have it on the 1 yard line, and we fumble.
Yeah.
So those things were a difference maker in the games. But our defense, speaking of interceptions, we have Jalen Crane has 3 interceptions on the year. Tyson Martin has 2. LD Wagner has 2. And Connor Mudd has 1. And Connor's not played since he's only played a quarter of one game.
Yeah.
Our defense, we're pretty. We give up long pass plays. We don't give up anything underneath, but it's like I said, at the beginning of the year, it's going to be a process. But I still think that we're going to compete and win the district. I still believe that.
When you guys have Edmonton County on Friday,
Yes.
They are kind of a one-back army in a way.
They're a one-back army. He's the general, and then they have the quarterback. He'll run it as well. I don't think they'll hurt us at all on the outside. Outside of the tackles. It's just their line is pretty good size.
Yeah.
So we've just been working on our interior guys of getting in the gaps and just trying to disrupt things so that our linebackers can make a play. And our linebackers, Friday night our linebackers did not play well.
Yeah.
And watching the film, their first steps were 2 steps back. And as a linebacker, your first steps have to be forward. But those are some things that we worked on. I don't think Edmondson. I could be wrong. I don't think they'll try to throw it on us.
Yeah.
They could. And Eminence, they threw it early, and we picked them twice and took one back for a pick 6.
Bubble screen.
But then, that was, I keep talking about Tyson Martin, but, it's like he knew exactly what they were doing. He jumped that pass, and it was done. But they hit some long balls on us after Jalen got hurt.
Yeah.
And
that probably hurt you a little bit up front too, because you had to move Tyson back to that safety position, and so now you're kind of have some people up front playing out of position or playing that.
And they was countering us to death. It was counter, and then we move up, and then they hit a home run.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, it's all a learning process for not only the kids but me. We try to make in-game adjustments, and regardless. DJ Purcell, our defensive coordinator, I promise you, he has every play scripted that every team's going to run. He was telling them what they were going to run before they ran it. We just couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
So
those counter plays that they were running were really good. They ran their offense really well, I would say.
They did. And we had Drew Merle didn't play Friday. He had his wisdom teeth cut out on Tuesday, and he still had a lot of swelling. So.
He's a big kid in the middle
Big
for
kid,
you.
number 70.
Yeah.
And he gives us some good quality minutes on defense as well. He's, of course, one of our veteran offensive linemen, but he gives us a lot of good looks at defensive linemen, and we really missed him Friday.
So at this point in the season, you're coming into week 4 here, but not just for your team, but when you're looking around, do you see some teams that are trending either in 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, I guess, around here that
I
you
think
are pretty
the most
interesting?
competitive district as a whole in the entire state is going to be Glasgow, Franklin Simpson,
And
Butler
Hart.
County, and Hart.
Butler's not in.
But they're in the district, though.
Yeah, they
I
are.
just had to mention them because they're in the district.
They're not in the conversation.
Them, along with
But Adair is also undefeated, I do believe. Stonebreaker went over there. That dude just knows how to coach football.
he couldn't catch. We played together in college.
Oh, is that
Yeah,
right?
we called him Stone Hands.
Oh, well.
Great guy.
Maybe that's
Great
why
guy.
he builds this offense
He's a
around
great
his
guy,
quarterback.
and he prepares. They're well prepared.
Yeah.
And then you know in Class A you've got Campbellsville, Holy Cross, Kentucky Country Day, and Bethlehem.
Campbellsville's, I don't know if people thought they were going to be as good as they are.
Oh, they
right
did.
now.
They didn't lose anybody really.
Yeah.
And sad to say, that's our cross district.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless of where we finish in the district, we're going to have to
That's
go.
why you gotta win
we're
the
gonna have
district.
that's why we got to win it. We got to win it and at least play the last seed at home. You know, which
I wonder when's the last time Caverna had a home playoff game?
2000, Dwayne Hatcher was the head coach.
So about 2004, 5, somewhere in there?
2005, I think.
Okay.
That's the last winning season that
Yeah,
Caverna had.
they ended up like 6-5 before it was all said and done that year? Okay.
Yep. He reminds me of that every day at practice. But, you know, again, hey, this time
Did
last
they
year,
end
I
up-
think they were 0-3.
Yeah, did they end up playing Russellville? No, maybe they were in Russellville's district.
No, I was an assistant coach then. I want to say maybe Hancock County came to Caverna
That may
in
be
the
it.
playoffs.
Yeah. They may have been in the district with Russellville because I think that was John Meyer's first season at Russellville after he left Monroe
I think
County.
it was Caverna. No, it wasn't Russellville because we didn't play Russellville in the regular season. Or are you talking about Hancock was in the...
No, I know John Meyer's first or second season, Caverna played Russellville. They were either in the district with him or they played in the playoffs.
Okay.
But the game was at Caverna.
Okay.
I do
You know
remember
what? That was who we played in the playoffs.
Okay.
We were in the district with Hancock,
Yeah.
Crittenden, and
Yeah.
McLean.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, because the reason I remember this is because, well, first of all, John Myers had been at Monroe, so I'd covered him, and then he went to Russellville. But he had this guy who, and he can remember the guy's name. We talk about him from time to time. He had this guy who was probably about 6'1", probably weighed about 145 or 50 pounds. That he basically played at nose tackle. The guy really didn't know anything about football, but he would run by people and get in the backfield. And he would squat. He didn't like get hands down. He just squatted at the line of scrimmage and just took off.
And you know, that's a nightmare for an offensive line.
Yeah, because of the way that defense he played, that dude was just kind of out there going whichever direction he wanted to go. But yeah, I just always remember that because I was amused by that guy, and I was thinking it was John's first year at Russellville.
And I'm telling you, Hart County's still not. I don't think they've still played a complete game. They've done enough to win.
Yeah.
Talked to Chad. Actually, talked to him last night, and you know, Jackson Shoulders has really not been a factor yet on the offensive side. Jordan Bradley, none of those guys have really had their game, but that shows you how good they are.
Yeah.
I mean, they're struggling, but they're still winning by a couple of touchdowns.
Yeah. I do think that district's pretty interesting.
They go to E-Town this week, so he's, E-Town's traditionally good, so that's going to be a test for him. That district is just, geez, I'm glad I'm not.
Well, I mean, it does look like Butler County is the odd one out at this point in time, just out of those 5 teams in that district.
And, you know, Russellville played Butler.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just try to think of things to keep my kids positive. And I think between the 3 teams in our district, outside of ourselves, they've only scored 3 touchdowns all year. So I try to just keep them focused on, hey, if we take beaten, lose, when we get to the district, it's 0-0. And just go, as long as we win those 3 games, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good. But I think we're going to win. We're going to win some more games.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to win some more games. We'll just see what happens.
Well, I think it's interesting for you guys. Barron's defense has been good as long as they clean up the mistakes they've made in terms of penalties and whatnot. I think they'd be in good shape going forward, even in their district. Warren Central's in there now. Central Hardin, I think, is legitimately good this year, and North Hardin always has good players.
Right.
They're not always the best, but they always have good players. Plus, Central Hardin and North Hardin, man, they play tough schedules.
Yep.
Play a lot of those Louisville schools and all that jazz.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. I think Aaron keeps flashing the light at us.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's not working or what, but when we come back, we will be talking college football, and we will be talking about prime time.
Okay.
We'll be back in just a minute.
At Don Franklin, we're more than a group of car dealerships. We're hardworking, everyday people of Kentucky. We strive daily to give 110% to our customers, our employees, and our families. We are committed to providing everyone with a safe and reliable vehicle, and we continue our tradition of supporting our local communities. At all 24 dealerships across Kentucky, we will treat you like family. Don Franklin Family of Dealerships, we are Kentucky.
Extreme Fitness has doubled in size, now with over 8,000 square feet of co-ed weights and an upgraded 90-degree saline therapy pool. The Extreme Fitness campus also holds the exclusive Extreme Fitness for Women complex and Extreme Blend smoothie bar. You have to experience the variety of classes to realize the impact they have on their clients. Personal training is with the best in the business and is available and tailored to fit individuals. So start your journey today at Extreme Fitness and Health Club.
Lockshield Partners Accounting Services provides professional and trusted expertise to our clients. Our team offers individual, business, and nonprofit tax preparation services, as well as payroll, bookkeeping, and consulting year-round. Call or visit our office today so our team can work for you while you and your loved ones focus on what really matters, because together we plan.
We're back. Glasgow Electric Plant Board, Channel 6, the local channel. Tell me about it. Here with James Brown. James, watched college football all weekend.
Did you?
Yes, I did. Couldn't wait.
Were there any good games?
Oh, of course.
One good game?
I thought the Western game was a good game for a half.
Well, yeah.
For a half.
Yeah.
But regardless of what happened,
Our boy Dalvin Smith had a good day.
We played Friday. We're 1-0.
Who's we?
You know who we is.
Yeah, Caverna played Friday.
You know who we are. This is the college football segment.
Oh, my bad. Oh,
You know.
So you're talking about the Cardinals.
That's right.
They flew down to Atlanta.
And
then they took on some Yellow Jackets, and
Yes.
for the first half, it looked like the Yellow Jackets were going to sting them to death.
Braun was filling them out.
Yeah, and then the second half, things started clicking.
Yes.
I did notice that Georgia Tech's running more of the offense they used to run prior to they tried to go to that spread and the wheels came off. They've gone back to that more, I'm an aeronautics engineer offense.
You mean to tell you what's sickening?
What?
To watch Florida State play Monday night.
Yeah.
Sunday night.
Sunday
night. Play LSU. And to watch Jordan Travis dominate the game.
Yeah.
And he was at Louisville, but Satterfield never let him play.
Well,
Never let him on the field. I'm so glad Satterfield's gone.
spilt milk, man.
But I can still wipe it up sometimes of seeing what could be.
Yeah.
But aside from Florida, who cares about Florida State, LSU?
Now that
Kentucky played a game. I mean, who did they play?
Ball State.
They played Ball State.
I believe that's correct.
How do they play Trinity, White House Trinity, or? Oh no!
No,
that's
that
a
game
high
would have
school
been
team.
closer.
That would have been closer. That game would have been closer.
Well, that's why I asked the question, and I probably mentioned this last week when we talked about college football. The thing that kind of annoys me early in the season is you get so many just bad games.
Yes.
Everybody's check collecting games and whatnot, and people trying to get a good win to open the season. And so I do give Florida State and LSU credit for playing each other. It's just that LSU was a hot mess in that game.
Terrible.
And
Charles Barkley, terrible.
It was, man.
Terrible.
Oh, man. Who is it? Dang, I'm trying to think who's an LSU grad. They do sports talk stuff. And they were just, they were on a show and everybody was harassing them. They were like, where did the Tigers go?
They weren't at the game.
GAUX. Yeah. But yes, I give them credit for playing.
But you know what I want to talk about.
What do you want to talk about?
Prime time.
Buffalo Bills?
Prime time.
Prime time.
Prime time.
Isn't that what they used to call like the...
Prime time is who they call Deion Sanders.
That's who Deion Sanders calls himself.
No, the world calls him prime time.
No, he calls himself
No,
prime time.
you may not call him prime time, but
I call him Deion.
you can't see Aaron. Aaron, who is Deion? When you think of Deion Sanders, what do you think of?
Prime time.
Prime time. You heard Aaron.
Yeah, well, that's
Hey,
what-
Deion said it must be the money.
So here,
And did you know that he signed his contract knowing that Colorado didn't have the money to cover it? Did you know that?
Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
Here are some things about Deion that I will say just right off the top.
Okay.
He walks the talk that he puts out there.
Yes.
So well, now in terms of being a coach and an athlete and that kind of stuff, there's some other parts of things that he says that I'm not sure he does walk, but we won't bother with that.
Okay.
But in terms of him saying, you know, I know what it takes to do this and that kind of jazz, he's right. He does. The players believe him when he tells them that, and that's a good thing, which is why he has good players who followed him to Jackson State. Then they left Jackson State and went to Colorado with him. But then that's why there are players who had no affiliation with him previously joined him
They wanna play.
at Colorado because they believe him. And I believe him too when he says that kind of stuff. I would say also, though, that I go back to the Van Chancellor quote about being a good coach.
Okay.
You got to load the bus with good players.
And he's loaded it.
He does. I mean, so his spiel / stick work for getting players that are good.
And we need to keep him in our prayers because he may have to have his foot amputated soon.
Oh, well, and see, that's another thing. I think that second year at Jackson State,
he had to have his toe amputated.
yeah, I mean, he was in bad shape.
Yeah.
You know, with I think he had a blood disease that an infection he ended up getting because of a prior injury from his hip, I think is what it was. But then it kind of got into his leg. So I mean, I don't diss the guy's work ethic. I don't diss the guy's knowing what he's doing.
What do you diss?
I just get kind of tired of people who are shameless self-promoters. And I get that in this day and age, you got to build a brand and have a brand, and everybody's got a brand on Instagram and all that jazz, but I kind of get just tired of seeing them. And also the way he left Jackson State, I'm not the only person who had this feeling. There were a lot of people in Jackson, Mississippi who had the feeling that he was full of it. And about what he was.
Of opinion.
I don't think
I
they're
mean, he
wrong.
was swag.
He was not swag.
He was
that
swag.
That dude at Alabama
If he
State
ain't
was
swag,
like,
who's swag?
not him.
Prime time. That's what he said.
Well, you just who ain't swag?
He said, "If I ain't swag, who's swag?"
But he was not right. The dude at Alabama State was right.
He left,
He was never swag. He didn't
was
go to a
swag.
swag school.
but he didn't have to. He was a coach there.
That's fine.
He was a coach
It
there.
worked out for him. They gave him an opportunity, and he's launched off of it. Good
Now
for
let's
him.
be realistic.
Why didn't he take that opportunity at Georgia State though?
I was
They
really
would've hired
hoping.
him.
I was really hoping. Did they go after him?
No, what I'm getting at is he and Jackson State worked out a deal. Jackson State said, yes, we'll hire you as a head coach without any prior head coaching experience at the college level. But why didn't he contact Georgia State? And
Because
offer that
he's
to him?
swag.
But he's not.
He's swag. Come
the,
on, Jay.
The one thing he's definitely not is swag.
I tell you what I was disappointed in. Really,
What?
I wanted Louisville to go after him. I told you I wanted Louisville to go after him. Hey,
Here's the thing. I don't know how long he'll be at Colorado.
oh, he'll go bigger.
Yeah.
He'll go bigger.
I mean, so, and they went 1-10 last year or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see if he can win, how many more games he'll win at Colorado.
I told you how many games he's going to win.
You
Minimum,
said 7 or 8?
minimum 7.
Yeah. I mean, look, the conference isn't great, so I think he has a great opportunity. They played Nebraska this Saturday. I watched that part of that Nebraska game from the other day. They'll beat Nebraska. They got better players.
And you know what's we were talking about marketing.
Yeah.
I'd say he probably makes more money on endorsements than he probably will coaching.
He doesn't really need the coaching money.
Every commercial that came on during the game, from the nut commercial to Aflac.
You're helping out my point at this point.
But what is he doing? He's giving those kids a chance.
No, I don't.
Did you see how big his long snapper is?
No, I don't.
6'2", less than 200 pounds.
Yeah.
But he's going to end up being one of the best there is out there.
I'm not one of these people on social media going, I hope he fails, because I don't hope that at all.
Right.
I hope he succeeds. I hope the
Right.
players on his team succeed. I just get tired of seeing him. But I feel that same way about a lot of folks that are, put themselves out there and are constantly, in the marketing themselves. I guess despite the fact that I'm sitting here on a TV show with you, I'm a person who.
Are you privileged for that?
Yes, I am.
I am too, James.
But I do think the bottom line is, if you're a lot of times if you're doing the work, then you're not having to sell yourself.
But he's selling the product. But that's the times that we live in now.
I know. It doesn't mean
Okay,
I like
so
it.
question. So what about when Nick Saban would go deep in Mississippi or deep in Alabama or deep in Georgia? And I watched a video where he's at a family reunion doing the electric slide to get a kid to come.
I think that's stupid too. But
But they all do it.
I mean, look.
But it's just more lights
But
on
you gotta
prime
be
time
Nick-
because he's prime.
But wait, you got to be Deion Sanders or Nick Saban, because that crap ain't working for Brian Kelly. And he doing the hustle in some weird video with some dude he's trying to recruit at LSU. You saw what the heck happened to his team.
And he didn't get
got
him?
mollywopped.
Did he get him?
I don't know whether he got the guy or not, because no, actually he didn't. But that's beside the point. Whomever he did get, they got pummeled by
went to
Florida
Kentucky?
State.
He went to Alabama. Well, I guess. Well, listen.
So it doesn't
The
work
kid
for
didn't like the hustle. The kid liked the electric slide.
So
he
he didn't
went
like
with
the electric
Saban.
slide. If you put Nick Saban
with
you put Nick Saban at Georgia State and he does the electric slide, that kid's still going to Alabama.
Well, that's what they said about Travis Hunter going to Jackson State.
Well,
That's what they said. I've got an argument with you on that. The best player in college football today, Travis Hunter.
Oh, I don't disagree.
Hands down.
I thought he was the best player in college football last year when he was at
Hands
Jackson
down.
State.
And you know what I've watched this week? The kids on some of my players have been showing me. I didn't know he was a basketball player.
Yeah, he was everything. I don't know if he played baseball in high school, but he was a.
I bet he can.
But at one point he was also a standout baseball player. I don't remember exactly when he quit playing.
Now, what about Shador? Do you think that if he puts up numbers comparable to week one, do you think he'll be a true Heisman candidate?
Not yet.
Or do you think that because Prime is his daddy, that he may get shunned a little?
We may be in the Lonzo Ball territory when it comes to Prime's children.
I don't. You never hear him talk about Shiloh.
Well, no, I just mean the cast off.
But where people are going to not want to deal with them because they don't
don't wanna
want
deal
that.
with him.
They don't want to deal with Prime.
Yeah.
All right.
But I don't. But for Ball's children, the one that he talked about the least is the one that's the most successful.
Yeah, Mello.
Yeah. So I mean,
Mello, Jello.
so I mean,
But
the
people
defensive back may be the one that winds up shining.
Shiloh is good.
He is.
He's good.
And because he doesn't get talked about, nobody talks about it, and everybody's talking about Travis Hunter and Shador, he's the guy that one day you wake up and you're like, oh, so he's a Aeneas Williams,
Right.
or whatever.
And back to the Ball family.
Do we have to?
Yes, we have to.
Can
As
you-
annoying.
Can you
no.
do that? Can you do that head bob
No.
business that he did when he was coming on?
Yeah. Was that not great when they said
so
when he went when Lonzo went to the Lakers?
Yeah.
And they said he said, I always knew my son was going to be a Laker. They said, well, when did you know? He said, when he was a baby.
Well, he ain't a Laker
He
anymore.
promoted his kids. But guess what? They're all millionaires. He did what it took to get America to focus on his kids, and he cashed in on it.
Yeah, well, Todd Marinovich's dad also
And he
probably
can
made
beat
some
Jordan
money off of Todd
one-on-one.
Marinovic. That's fine.
That's what he said.
That's whatever.
Hey.
Man, Jordan would stuff that ball down his throat and pull it out the other side.
But so when does it become a cap as a parent to market your kids? What is a cap?
My first problem is actually just a holistic issue in the sense that people are so focused on their children being a thing that if that doesn't pan out, what kind of pressure have you put on your child to be only that thing and nothing else in life?
Right.
So
But when those things
that's
pan
the
out and these
challenge.
people are cashing in these
Yeah, but how many
$50
children
and
are
$60 million
getting? How many children are Todd Marinovich sitting on the beach shooting up heroin?
Well, good point. So what about Baby Gronk? Do you know who Baby Gronk is?
He's some 8th grader or whatever.
No, I don't think he's even in the 8th grade. I think he's like
See, that's-
4th grade, 5th grade.
Yeah, that's nonsense, man.
He's the number one.
Are you going to tell me he's the number 1 4th grader in America?
That's what they
I was the number 1 4th grader in America. It's just that nobody told
They
anybody.
have him.
You were the number 1 4th grader in America.
He's the
Nobody
number
told
1
anybody.
4th grader in America. He has like 26 Division I offers as a 4th grader.
Man, whatever.
I'm telling you.
Good.
I'm embarrassed.
They
I'm
called
embarrassed because now Alabama's offered him too, but I'm embarrassed because
what is it
Louisville offered him.
Yes, you should be then.
I'm embarrassed at that.
It ain't we anymore. It's them now, isn't
Huh?
it?
No, it's still we, but geez, we're recruiting 4th graders now.
See, that's just dumb. See, that's dumb. What if
But
that 4th
guess
grader
what?
decides he wants to play the piano instead of being Baby Gronk? What's going to happen then?
Hey,
I mean, he might be a great piano
marketing.
player. Marketing. It ain't marketing. Whatever.
he's marketing his kid, James.
He's prostituting his child so he can make a little money is what he's doing. He's a pimp.
I promise I wanted you to say it. That's what these parents are doing. They're
are.
prostituting their kids.
It does feel like that.
And you know, like the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams' dad just said that he's going back to USC if he don't get drafted by the team he wants. Dude, you can't.
Well, he's just following in a long line of Mannings and Elways on that front, isn't he?
But they're not. He's not. Caleb Williams is not a Manning or a Elway.
Probably not.
It's not. But that brings me to another point. How far do you go before you're satisfied with what you got?
See, and that's the thing. I mean, are you, as in the 4th grade, is that child able to decide this is what I want to be?
No.
I mean, I feel the same way about people who just put tons of photos of their children on like Facebook or Twitter and Instagram and all that. Because you read stories about kids who grew up constantly online, not of their own choice, but of someone else's choice. And you get to see them as they age and progress and their embarrassing moments and not, in their good moments as well. But it's a real challenge to then look in the mirror every day and say, who am I?
Yeah.
I mean, without going out and experiencing and doing things of that nature. I mean, it's, if you are, I might get tired of seeing Deion Sanders, but again, like I said, start with, he knows what he's doing and he's not incorrect. I just get tired of seeing him. But he's fully in control of his own choices. And he's not really doing that with his children. He didn't really do that with his children. He coached at a school, high school. Yeah.
Was he at IMG?
No, he was at a Trinity Academy or
Trinity
something
Academy.
north of Dallas,
Yes.
Texas, when he
Yes.
was coaching.
Shador played IMG.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
But even back then, I mean, he would say, even then it was about him. And at that time he would say, keep working and yeah, they can be good. I'm their dad. He was not wrong. The physical tools were going to be there, just genetically speaking, because their dad's Deion Sanders. But he wasn't, but at that particular point in time, it wasn't like he was just.
I don't know about that. Michael Jordan's sons were terrible. They had the tools too, but I don't think they had a toolbox.
Well, you still have to match your genetic potential with work ethic and training and the desire to do it. If you don't have the desire, Michael Jordan is such an outlier. None of his children could possibly ever be what he was because that dude was psychopathic in his desire to win.
What about Bronny or Bryce? Could they be better than LeBron?
No, they can't.
You don't think so?
Neither one of them is going to be 6'8", weigh 250 pounds.
You don't think Bryce will get that big?
I just don't. Again, also, LeBron James is an outlier in the sense that he did have that pressure on him from about the time he was a sophomore in high school. And he's a rarity in the fact that he's managed to transition through this whole life and not break.
And not mess up.
His mistakes have only been ones of just public perception. Things that he's
crying and
well, no, I'm going to take my significant talents to South Beach. That was one of the dumbest statements ever made.
But what did he do when he got to South Beach?
1, 2 of 4 and got beat twice when he shouldn't.
But
have.
he won 2.
It doesn't matter.
How many did they won prior to that?
He wouldn't have won one without Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade won that deadgum series. He won one in Cleveland with Kyrie. I can't stay on the court. Irving taking over the fourth quarter of a game. I like LeBron James.
How did they get there? LeBron.
Because they had talent. Yes, they got there whenever they lost to Golden State that time because they had LeBron and nobody else. And the first time Cleveland went, they had LeBron and nobody else. But to win the championships, it takes more than one dude. I don't care how good they are.
Yeah, you're right.
Thank you.
You're right.
You done with this?
Are you flashing the lights? I think I've had enough. I think I've had enough, JB, for today. Yeah, he beat me today. He beat me today. Close us out, James.
Hey, I'm James Brown with 104thescore.com. Here's poor old Trevent Hayes with his broke leg and KYSports.tv. This is Tell Me About It here on Glasgow EPB Channel 6. The local channel, you can catch us every Thursday at 6 p.m. Catch us anytime, Glasgow EPB YouTube channel.